We do begin, though, with chaotic scenes playing out at colleges across the country as police try to break up campus protests. In New York City, police remain on Columbia University's campus after clearing out a campus building occupied by protesters last night. That's what you're looking at here. New York City Mayor Eric Adams says the occupation was led by people who are not affiliated with the school.
There were those who were never concerned about free speech. They were concerned about chaos. It was about external actors hijacking peaceful protests and influencing students to escalate.
The encampment on the main lawn is also gone. You can see the yellow-colored grass where those tents used to be. At the University of Wisconsin in Madison, several arrests were made when police removed tents and camping gear earlier today. The school is allowing protesters to stay there. UCLA has canceled all classes today. Police were called to separate dueling protest groups they were called to separate dueling protest groups early this morning after fights broke out and fireworks were thrown. And at Tulane University in New Orleans, 14 people were arrested after police cleared out an encampment there. NBC News correspondent Antonia Hilton is at Columbia once again for us, and NBC News correspondent Steve Patterson is at UCLA. Antonia, let me start with you. What are we hearing today from students after everything that happened late last night and into the overnight?
Kate, students tell me that they are sad, that they were disturbed and hurt. Some of them feel betrayed by the administration. And those emotions are coming from students on all sides of this issue. For students who identify as pro-Palestinian, who have been involved in some of the protests or just have seen their friends take part in something like the encampment, they feel that the university could have done more to come to the table with them and to have found an alternative solution. And then many of the Jewish students that have spoken to NBC News and described threats and harassment in recent weeks and months, they tell me that they're sad, that they feel the administration could have intervened sooner to bring the temperature down, that it didn't have to get to this point. And so that seems to be the one piece that really everyone on every side of this can agree on. The university, the president, Manoush Shafiq, released her own statement this morning, really exploring and explaining in a way what we saw transpire last night. And I'll read some of it for you. This drastic escalation of many months of protest activity pushed the university to the brink, creating a disruptive environment for everyone and raising safety risks to an intolerable level. I am sorry we reached this point, Kate.
And Steve, let me go over to you if I can. Classes were canceled at UCLA. I'm not sure if we have Steve now or not yet. Okay, we do have Steve. What's being done to restore order on campus at UCLA today? And what is the school saying about the violence that we saw overnight, Steve?
Yeah, this is the aftermath, and it's been quiet today. And unlike what we saw and heard last night in one of the most maybe violent conflicts since this encampment was erected here on campus, we really saw tensions between counter-protesters and protesters. Counter-protesters, apparently, according to the protesters inside here, students who were just walking by and saw this happen, flooding in counter-protesters to this encampment, ripping down part of the barrier that is behind me, wooden, metal, using those materials to assault and try to hurt the protesters inside. We're hearing that there were pipes used, that there were fireworks that were thrown in there, that there were tasers possibly, and even pepper spray deployed during scraps between the two groups. And it was a back and forth between the two groups from what we've heard. A back and forth that lasted far too long. A lot of protesters and students I spoke to say this happened for a period not of minutes, but of hours, and that it was very violent. At some point, the university decried what was happening. At some point, they called police. Police came in at some point as well, but according to those protesters and students, this was hours after this fighting had started, and even when they came, it took an elongated period of time to divide the two groups. That is a point of contention for students here on campus, as well as people who want answers about who's in this encampment and how long this is going to last. I think there is a call for more leadership, both at the local level and the state level, and that's something that will be discussed over the next few days. But for right now, because of an increased police presence that is still here, things have remained peaceful as classes are now canceled because of the level of elevated violence that we saw last night. Back to you.
All right, Steve Patterson, thank you. Antonia Hilton, thanks to you as well.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.